What is up guys, it's Rob. Hope you're doing good. So today I'm going to be talking about being in a band, whether it's originals or a covers band, whatever it is. I'm going to give a few tips and a bit of advice based on my own experience of being in my originals band. I also play in a wedding band, a function band, playing a lot of covers and things like that on the weekends, but I'm mainly going to be basing this off of my experience in my originals band. So if you're in a band or want to be in a band in the future, even if you've just started out or if you've been going for a while, then hopefully this video will give you a little bit of advice and a few tips of things to avoid. If that sounds interesting, then stick around and we'll get to that very soon. But firstly, I just want to quickly say I'm sorry for not posting a video for a couple weeks, maybe even 3 weeks now. I've been super busy in my personal life. As you can see, I'm in a different location now. Normally I film all my videos in my office where I teach, but now I'm actually in a new apartment. I've still got the office and I'm still going to do videos there, but recently I've just moved house from in a house into this new apartment that I'm in now. And I thought, why not try and do some more videos here? Because it's a little bit more private. I've got more time to do it here, because at the office where I teach lessons and do videos there, I've got to kind of wait until nobody else is in the building, because there are other businesses that use that space, obviously during office hours during the day. So I can't really do videos until evenings and weekends. Whereas now I'm in my apartment, it's the middle of the day, and I can do videos like this as much as I want. So that's why I'm wearing this little clip-on microphone, and I've not got my other microphone set up, so hopefully this sounds good as well. I actually filmed this video yesterday. This is the second time I've had to make this video because I used this microphone, but yesterday I wore a necklace, and then when I watched the footage back, all I could hear was the necklace smacking against the microphone, which is super annoying, and I thought maybe it won't be that bad, but it was bad. So here we are, take 2, no necklace. So hopefully this is a lot better. Anyway, also as I said, I do play in a wedding band, a function band, and it's now getting into summer, although you wouldn't realize it if I was to turn the camera around now. I'm in front of my window right now and the weather is really grey, really awful. But yeah, even though it is summer and the weather's not amazing, but more people tend to get married in the summer, obviously. So for a wedding band, I get a lot busier in the summer. So my weekends now are taken up by lots and lots of gigs, which is great, but also gives me a little bit less time to do these videos. Like I said, I have to wait till the weekends or the evenings to do them. So now my weekends are taken up as well with the gigs. So I'm really struggling to find time. I'm kind of making excuses, and I will find more time. So that's another reason why I haven't made a video. And lastly, the big thing that has happened in my life recently is that I have actually left my originals band. So that's why I thought I'd make this video today, because it's just been on my mind, the whole band in general, and you know, reflecting on my experience being in that band, which for me was great. I had a really, really good time. You know, I still love the band now. All the guys are great, you know, not falling out with anybody or anything like that. I actually made a video explaining why I left the band and talking through my decision to leave, but then when watching it back, it just seemed quite mopey and quite sad, where I don't want it to feel like that. Me leaving the band for me is a good thing, and I want it to be in a positive sort of light, because that's how I see it. So I chose not to put that video out there, just binned it off, because I didn't want it to seem like a sad thing. So, talking about bands and stuff like that, I thought this would be a better video to make, talk about my experience and hopefully help other people out who want to be in a band or are in a band or anything like that. Talk about the things that I think, if I could go back in time, we would probably do differently in hindsight after having the experience. So yeah, if you're interested in this, then let's get right into my list, which I have here, of things that I want to talk about in terms of things to avoid and little tips and things like that. So let's get into it. So number 1 on my list, I put social media, permissions and access. So what I mean by that is that if you're a band or an artist, not just a band but a single artist, then that's a really loud siren going past. Anyway, if you're a band or an artist, then chances are you're going to have some social media pages, and they are going to be super important, because if you play any gigs or anything like that, those pages are what people are going to search for to try and find you after it if they liked what they heard or saw. And the more pages you can have on different platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anything else, the better. And they're really important because, like I said, if you make fans, then they're going to follow your pages, and that's how they're going to keep up to date with either new music that you're going to put out or tour dates or anything like that. So you really want to take care of your social media pages. And what I mean by permissions and access is that just be aware who has access to your social media pages as an admin. It's people who can log on, people who have the password for your Twitter and Instagram or something like that. And in Facebook, like I said, who's an administrator or a moderator on your pages. Because in the past, in my band, we used to have a Facebook page, which is still on Facebook now, but one day I logged on Facebook and that page was still there, but I could no longer post on it as the page. I could only post on it as a fan. And I thought, that's really strange. This was my page. Why can't I post on it? So I phoned the other guys from the band, and the same thing had happened to them, and they'd all been taken off the page as admins. So essentially the page was there with all of our likes that we built up over the years. There was probably about 3,000 likes at the time, which might not sound like a lot, but at the time that was a lot for us, and it had taken us ages to get that. And then one day that was all gone. I mean, well, it's still there, but it was all gone in terms of we couldn't do anything with it. And you know, we contacted Facebook, we heard nothing back, but basically we had to just start a new page. The only thing that could have happened is that our Facebook accounts, one of our personal Facebook accounts potentially might have been hacked. We still never got to the bottom of it, of how it happened or why. But basically, yeah, we just lost our page, and we lost a few years of solid work trying to build up our fan base and trying to build up our likes. And this was back in a time when Facebook likes actually meant something, because now they don't really mean anything. Because if you want people to see your posts and stuff like that, then you just have to pay for it. That's the way that things are now. You have to sponsor your posts, promote them. But back then, likes were quite important, because if you had 3,000 likes, then that's potentially 3,000 people who would see what you posted on your page. That's how it used to work, and that was great. And then, yeah, suddenly that was all gone for us, and we never figured it out. So just guard your page's security as best as you can. If somebody doesn't need access to your page as an admin, don't give it them. Just stick to the people who are the most trusted to have access to those pages and do the posts. If it's all the band members, then great. If not all the band members need it, then don't give it to everybody for that reason. But also, if there's any outside influences like management or anything like that who want access to your pages, just be really careful if you give it to them, because you never know when someone's gonna do something which might ruin your page. And like I said, that could be years of work suddenly lost, and you don't want that. That's one thing that happened to us, and hopefully that won't happen to anybody else. So number 2 on my list, still on the subject of social media, and I put social media posts, videos, pictures, and statuses. But this also includes live streams and things like that. Basically, what I'm talking about here is that there is a bit of a tiering system of posts in terms of what gets the most engagement. Like I said earlier, Facebook likes actually used to mean something. So if somebody likes our page, then they would pretty much see every post that we made. You know, they would come across it at some point flicking through the timeline, but now timelines are different, and people only see posts that are being interacted with a lot. So the way that you get a lot of interactions these days is that you have to pay for it, unless you post something that is naturally really, really captivating and is going to get a lot of people's attention straight away. And the things that get the most attention is videos and live streams. They get the absolute most attention, so they're going to be pushed in the algorithm and pushed onto people's timelines, because ultimately Facebook and other social media platforms, they want to keep you on their platform for as long as possible, you know, and they want to keep your audience on there. They want people to stay on their websites because that's better for them. It's a business at the end of the day, so more people that use their platform, the better for them. So yeah, they're going to definitely push things which do that. Live streams are probably the highest prioritized thing on a social media platform like Facebook, because live streams have people interacted with them literally live at the same time. You can be talking to your audience and they can be typing back to you and having a back and forth and clicking like and sharing it and stuff like that. And you can literally say to people, share this live stream right now as it's happening, so people will share it to their timeline, then more people will see it, and it, you know, they grow pretty quickly. And then next we've got videos. You're scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or something like that, and a video starts playing automatically. That's going to get people's attention more than, say, just a picture by itself, because obviously moving pictures gets people's attention. So that was a really smart move by Facebook years ago to make videos that automatically started playing, because I'm pretty sure I remember a time when you were flicking through social media and you saw a video, you had to physically click play if you were interested in what it might be, and then suddenly they just started playing by themselves, and then you find yourself watching videos that you don't even care about because they've just started playing. So that's not an accident, that's intentional. So make the most of that. If you're posting on your band page, make sure you post videos, either video updates, tour updates, backstage stuff, travel stuff, studio stuff, recording, writing, anything like that. Or if you really don't have anything, then do a live stream, just try and talk to your fans, just sort of do a bit of a Q&A or something like that. Post those sort of things. And the very bottom of the tiering system is just statuses, which is just words. Sometimes they're all right, especially if you've got a big fan base already. But like I said, words just written down as a status, and people are scrolling past, they're going to scroll past those really, really quickly because they will just get lost in a sea of videos and memes and live streams, and pictures and things like that. So statuses, where possible, try not to just post a status, post at least a picture with a good caption or something like that. If you've got a status to post, if you want to tell people something, say it with a picture, say it with a video, or just jump on a live stream and just tell them, rather than post it as a status or something. Just tell people vocally, because that will probably reach a larger audience than just a status in itself. But like I said, I also just wrote about posts, and again, this is just thinking about who has access to your page, and just be a little bit more mindful of what sort of thing is being posted, because basically you don't want anything offensive. You don't want somebody to post something which might not represent the whole band's views or anything like that. And you got to think about your audience, not just your fans, but also if you're a band, you're going to want to be attracting the attention of maybe some labels that might be looking at you, or some management that might be keeping their eye on you, because that's what happens. If there is some interest in your band from companies, they won't just contact you straight away. They might just observe you for a little while on your social media, just to see how well things are doing for you, and just to see how you are, how you act. So be aware of that, and don't post things that might put off those sorts of people, as well as your fans. You don't want to alienate any potential interest from management, labels, companies, or anything like that. So yeah, just be careful what you post. Don't post anything offensive. Kind of goes without saying, and also be aware of times. You know, there's not much point in posting something that you're not going to sponsor at midnight, when most people are in bed, asleep, or very first thing in the morning, or during the day when people are at work and college, school, university. What's the point posting something there when most people are going to not see it, probably because they're too busy at work? So the best time to post is basically any time where people are likely to be at home chilling. Maybe from about 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock is a pretty good window of when to post things. So if you're not going to sponsor it, then post it within that window. If you're going to sponsor it, it doesn't really matter when you post it, because you're paying, so people are going to see it anyway, hopefully. But yeah, don't post things at stupid times, basically. That's definitely a mistake that we made at first. We used to post things pretty much whenever we want. We just thought the more posts, the better. Also, don't bombard people with posts on your Instagram and your Twitter and things like that. Maybe just stick to about one post a day if you can manage that. And maybe on Twitter you can post a few more. You can reply to tweets. That doesn't really count. But for main posts and stuff like that, don't keep putting them out there constantly, because it might get a little bit annoying to people and they might unfollow you or something like that, and you don't want that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on social media. So number 3, I've put pay to play. And what that means is, these days I've noticed a massive rise in the amount of opportunities that bands get, but they have to pay for that opportunity. Whereas when we first started, probably in about 2010, 2011, so almost 10 years ago, all the gigs that we got at the time were offered to us. Whereas now, you know, right before I left the band, any gigs that we get, we have to pay for. Tours that we get, we have to pay for. We have to pay to get a tour. We have to pay to get a show. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing, because if you think about it, these days people don't buy music like they used to. So bands and artists and labels and things like that, they're going to want to make money somehow. And a good way for them to make money on a tour is if they know that they can sell out a tour and sell it well, even if it's 3 dates or 11 or 2 weeks. If they can sell out every single night, like just on the headline band's name alone, then they can definitely charge the support acts for a slot on that tour, because then the support acts don't have to do anything. They literally just have to turn up and play, and they're getting a full audience every single night. And I think that's worth it, because we've done that as a band. We paid for some tours that have been fantastic. They might have cost a lot of money, and it was a bit crap that we had to pay that, but the things that we got back in return, lots of fans, lots of interest, lots of hype about our band. We really made the most of not only just playing those shows to all those new people, but talking to them afterwards and following them on social media and interacting with people, not just whilst you're on the tour, but afterwards and stuff like that. The return was really, really good. So paying that money for those tours was amazing. But not everything is as good as it sounds. And like I said, being in a band is really, really expensive. You have to pay for your equipment, you have to pay for your rehearsal rooms, You have to pay for your transport, you have to pay for your recording and your music videos and everything. It just costs a fortune to be in a band. But it is worth it if you enjoy it. But yeah, the money side is pretty crap. And the worst thing is that there are quite a lot of people who like to take advantage of bands because they know they can make money out of them. We've definitely run into some people in the past who have made money off us, who didn't deliver something good for us in return, so we basically paid and wasted a lot of money on things that we shouldn't have wasted money on. And you know, we've played shows in the past where we might have had to pay for them, and those shows were promised to be really good, tickets flying out the door, that sort of thing, and then when we turn up, there's like 3 people there on the bar staff, and we could have paid for hotels up to hundreds of pounds for all 4 of us, or if we had any people with us, we could have paid for transport, hiring a van or something like that, you know, fuel to get there, petrol, and then food whilst we're there. Those are extra costs that we've had to pay, as well as paying for the rehearsals for that show or that tour. And then when we turn up and there's nobody there watching, all of that money was for nothing. And that is extremely frustrating. Also merchandise, we might have paid for merch to sell at these really busy shows, and then when we turn up there's nobody to sell our merch to, merch that we've just spent a lot of money on. So yeah, just try and avoid those situations. Pay to play is good, it gets a bad reputation, but I don't think it's a bad thing when you think of the return that you could get from it if it's a good deal. So basically all I'm saying is don't make the mistake that we made a few times of paying for things that weren't great. Go with your gut instinct, do a bit of research onto what you might be paying for, etc., the companies and their reputations. So don't get swindled, don't get conned, and only pay for things that you are confident will be really, really good. Okay, number 4 on my list, I've put structuring live sets and interludes. And what that means is that if you're playing live sets, whether it's a 30-minute set or a 45 or an hour or maybe even longer than that, it's a really good thing to think about the songs that you want to play and what order to put them in, because why would you start with a really, really rubbish song if people haven't heard of your band before and it's the first time seeing you, and you don't start with your best song, you save your best till last, which is also a good thing to do because, you know, that's what the saying is, save the best till last. But also start with something really good. You know, chances are you've not just got one really good song, you might have a few. So start definitely with either your best or one of your really good songs, something that's really going to sort of kick people in the face metaphorically, musically, and make an impact on people straight away. So if people aren't really paying attention to you because they don't know who you are and they're not really that bothered, they're waiting for the next band, then you kind of want to make a bit of a statement and start with something that's going to get people interested. So people could be not paying attention and suddenly go, oh wow, that sounds pretty good. Who are these guys? And you want that sort of thing there. So start with a pretty good song. Also, if you're playing a longer set, one thing that we started to do was that we had to look at our songs, and some of our songs could be quite fast or just a lot going on. And you know, for a half an hour set, it might not matter that much, but if we were playing longer, more like 45 minutes, you want to give people's ears a little bit of a break in between if you can. So we kind of have high impact songs at the start, and then we'd slow it down and have like softer songs in the middle, like maybe do an acoustic set, or well, not an acoustic set because we don't have a very long set to start with, but we might do an acoustic song or just a clean song or something a bit more relaxed, and then kick it back up again for the ending. So that's a little thing that we used to do. But one thing that we did start doing, which really stepped up our overall live sound and how we structured our sets, was that we started to fill all the gaps in between songs on stage with interludes and bits of music in the background. So basically from start to finish of our set, there was no pauses, no gaps, because if you've ever played a gig before where when you finish your song there is just a dead silence, because you know, these people watching, they might not like your band, they might not know who you are, they're not going to be cheering really loudly for a band that they've never heard of, chances are anyway. Or if it's a really quiet gig and there's not that many people there, you know, it's one of them things where you could finish a song and then a tumbleweed rolls past. It's really awkward and you don't want that. So we just got rid of that awkwardness and made it so that in between songs there was no gaps, there was no silence. As soon as one song finished, our drummer would start the backing track or the interlude, which would lead into the next song straight away. And the best thing about that as well is that we all knew how long those interludes were. So we could kick into the next song and the drummer might not even have had to count us in, because we know based on the interlude exactly when that song starts. So that looks better as well. It looks more rehearsed, it looks tighter. If you're playing and there's like an interlude playing, a backing track or something like that, and then you all just kick in at the same time without even being counted, that looked pretty cool. And yeah, like I said, it just got rid of that awkwardness in between songs, especially at the end of your set as well. We even used to put an outro. So we had an intro when we were walking on stage. We'd hopefully have something playing, which, you know, you get on stage and you start tuning your guitars and just, you know, the drummer might start adjusting his seat or his toms or something like that. You're getting yourself ready to play. And if you've not got any music playing or anything like that, that can be pretty awkward. And then you're just going to walk on stage and go, "Are we all ready?" and start playing. That can look quite amateur. Whereas if you have an intro, our drummer had a sample pad where all the intros were on there. So he would go on stage first and he'd hit the pad, and then the intro for the set would start playing, which would lead straight into the first song without a gap. So the intro would start playing, and then the rest of us would walk on stage and grab our guitars, tune up, anything that we need to do. And then we would just kick into the song exactly at the right moment. And again, that's another thing that's going to get people's attention, people watching you who haven't seen you before. Hopefully that's going to come off as quite impressive and quite rehearsed. It's going to make your band look tighter. And also in between songs, you're going to want to talk to people. You're going to want to talk to the audience, if there is one. You know, assuming there is and hoping there is, then you're going to want to talk to them. But like I said, if you're trying to talk to an audience who are deadly silent, that can be really, really awkward. You know, you want to kind of have a laugh and you want to explain who you are and stuff like that. And it can just be super awkward if it's really, really quiet. And, you know, you can hear people coughing and, like I said, the tumbleweed going past. And it might put you off a little bit, and it might make you more nervous, and you might forget things or say things wrong, you know, or sometimes you might try and tell a joke that doesn't go down well. That's happened to us a few times. So, you know, it might help you if you've got something in the background, like a bit of music building into the next song. For that reason, it kind of just takes the edge off it being fully silent and makes it a bit easier to talk over. Another thing with the interludes and stuff like that is that meant our drummer had to play to a click track, which was really good, because when we were playing live, that meant that we weren't speeding the songs up accidentally with the adrenaline and stuff like that. We weren't then condensing a half an hour set into 20 minutes because we've sped everything up. It just meant that everything was timed perfectly. Also the interludes, we knew exactly how long they were. So we knew how much time in between songs that we had to sort of, I don't know, maybe tune or swap a guitar or something like that, and then we could carry on. So if we had a half an hour set to play, we would make sure that that set was half an hour, and when we played it, it wasn't going to speed up or slow down. It was going to be the perfect amount of time every time. So just something to think about. Okay, and last on my list, number 5 is management. Now these days there's quite a lot of debate amongst newer bands whether you need a manager at all. And even more advanced bands, really. You know, management is a good thing, but there is a lot of things that you can do yourself as a band. You can promote yourself, you can record yourself, you can arrange things, you can arrange tours, you can arrange shows, you can arrange merchandise yourself. You don't need management to do these things for you, but if you have it, then that's a good thing, because it just takes some responsibility off you and gives it to somebody else who hopefully will sort out the things that you might not know how to sort out. Because a lot of bands these days, they have to figure things out for themselves. They have to learn this stuff. If they don't have a manager, then they have to learn how to sort a tour out. They have to learn how to arrange a music video or a photo shoot. Whereas if you have a manager, they might already have connections, things that are going to really help you out as a band that you wouldn't have had access to unless you had that management. But the thing I want to mention, and I'm going to try and word this carefully, is just be very aware what is going on whilst you're in the band if you have management, or not necessarily management, but other people doing things for you as a band who aren't in the band. I mean, just be quite careful and aware of things that are happening. But one thing that happened to us is when you record music and you want to put it online on shops like Spotify or iTunes or Amazon or something like that, and you want people to buy your music, just be aware of where those songs are being hosted, who's putting them on those websites, and when people buy your music, where is that money going? Because we've used websites ourselves before, like when we've recorded songs as the band, we've put them on websites like we use Ditto Music, which is pretty good. DistroKid is another one, and you pay like an annual fee to that website. It's like, I don't know, $20 or something like that. Could be wrong. But then because you pay that annual fee, you can upload as many songs as you want to DistroKid, which is going to then distribute it to online platforms like iTunes, etc. Apple Music maybe, and Spotify. And they're not going to take any more money out of any sales that you generate because you've already paid them their annual fee. So if you put a song up for 70p or £1 or something like that, then you're going to make 100% of that 70p or that £1. Or if it's a Spotify play, you're going to make nothing, a tiny amount. And then you can log on those websites and you get updates of your sales every, I think it might be quarterly or every couple of months, depending on the website. But like I said, just be aware where those songs are being hosted, if they're being hosted on websites, and who is putting them on those websites. Because we did some ourselves, and then we recorded an EP and a couple more singles and things like that. And we had management at the time, and the management sorted that for us. They put the songs on, well, actually don't know where the songs are. I don't know where they're hosted, and we never found out. And we have some songs which people did buy, people still listen to, and we've never seen any money from them because we don't know where they were hosted. Because like I said, we were with management, but we aren't now. Well, I've left the band, but the band aren't with that management anymore. And upon leaving, we never found out where those songs were hosted. We tried to find out and we got no straight answers, and it kind of just dawned on us that we're probably never going to find out. So that's money that we deserve as a band because we've written the songs and recorded them and put them out there, just not ourselves, and therefore that money is going somewhere. I'm not saying that the management took the money, that's not what I'm saying, because for all I know, that all of the money that has been made could still be sat on a website somewhere waiting for someone to just take it, us for argument's sake, but nobody's claiming it because it's there and we don't know where it is to claim it. So just be very aware of that. If you are putting music out there, who is doing it, and you know, if it is management or anything like that, then just make sure you're on top of it and make sure you know where it's going, because you don't want to put music out there and then people buy it and then you never see a penny of that money, because that sucks. So that's it. So that's my list of tips and things to avoid, mistakes hopefully not to make. If you're in a band or gonna be in a band, if you've just started, if you're an artist and you want to be a solo artist or anything like that and you're not sure how to do certain things, or if you just want some experience, I just based all of this on my experience of being in my originals band for almost 10 years. We did a lot of cool things and I loved every minute of it, but there were some things that if I could go back in time, I would do differently. And this is the things that I would probably do differently. I would make sure to look after my social media pages a bit more, post better things on the pages themselves rather than just posting stupid statuses or anything like that. I'd just be more aware of the audience of the pages, not just fans but any other companies or anything like that. If I was going to pay to play a show or a tour, just make sure it's going to be a good one, and you don't want to pay for something that you're not going to get. You don't want to be sold anything with false promises and stuff like that. You don't want to be conned, so be aware of that. And if you're playing a live show, then you want to make sure it's structured really well and it flows and it doesn't seem really mismatched and kind of higgledy-piggledy. Never say that word. But anyway, you don't want it to sound like that. You want people, especially new people, to watch your band and go, this sounds really good, this is really well put together, and you want to sound big and you want to sound well rehearsed. And lastly, if you, like I said, if you have management or anything like that, not even necessarily management, but if you have other people doing things for you, helping you out and stuff like that, then just make sure that you don't leave things to people to do which you're going to need to know later on, and then yeah, you could lose out on maybe money or something like that in the future. So those are my tips for things to avoid based on my own experience in my band. So hopefully if you're watching this and you're interested in that sort of thing, then hopefully you found this interesting, hopefully you found it useful, and yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then please let me know below. If you're in a band and you've got any questions or anything like that of things that I might have experienced in the past, then please comment them below. I'd love to answer any questions that people have. Might even do it in a video. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please click up here to see another one, over here to subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.